Hey guys, NJ Tiger here with another video for you guys. Before I jump into this video, I first want to give Psychedelic Babe and Damien0026 a shout out. They gave me a shout out, so shouting back out to you guys. Both channels are great channels. If you guys have not checked them out, definitely check them out. They have a lot of good content. So the video today is for Damon0026. He got talking to me about my saltwater tank and was asking if I had a overview of my tank. So I told him I would do one for him. So this is a video. Before I jump into my overview of my tank, I want to put a disclaimer out there. I am no expert. I've been doing this hobby for about 2 years. I'm learning every day, learning something new every day. And I will go over how I set up my tank. I'm not saying this is the way to set up a tank. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying this is how I set up my tank. So be mindful of that. Like I said, I'm no expert. This is what works for me. Even if you get the same exact equipment and go through the same steps I did, most likely your tank probably be different than mine. Each tank is different, so do be mindful of that. So with that disclaimer out there, I just wanted to put that out there so people weren't thinking I'm telling you this is how to do it or this is the only way. I've learned in salt water there's many ways to do something, so you gotta find what works for you. All right, guys. So Damon, let me give you an overview of my system here. First, I'll start with the lights. As you can see here, I have 3 lights. These 2 here are Kessel's A150 Deep Ocean Blue. So they're the nice deep blue lights. And then I have a Kessel A360WE Full Spectrum. Now that Kessel connects to the Kessel controller down here, where I can set my ramping. So this will ramp from the blue all the way up to the full spectrum and back down. So I have it on a timer like that. These guys are only blues, and they're plugged into my DYI controller, which I'll go into more detail. But these are my lights. I do about an 8-hour schedule, maybe a little less. I forget the exact numbers off the top of my head. But I didn't start with Kessels. What I did was I started with an Orbit bar light, and I went to Reefapalooza 2 years ago. And while I was at Reefapalooza, I noticed every tank had a Kessel light over it. So I was like, I'm getting a Kessel. So I bought my first A150 Deep Blue at Reefapalooza. Came, hooked it up. I had that and my bar light going across this tank. It looked alright, but the blue really was limited to one side of my tank. So I was like, I need 2. So I ordered the second one. Hooked that out, but I kept getting shadows with the bar light and the 2 Kessels. So I couldn't find a configuration I liked with the bar light and the Kessels that gave me enough coverage without shadows. So I started doing some more research, started to do searching, and I needed to find a light that could fit between these 2 that give me the full ramping and programmable like my bar light did. The only one I could really find was the Kessel 360. The other lights, they were tight. They might have been a little larger. They might not look as nice. There's a lot of lights on the market, so I'm not even going to go over all of them. I'm not saying you have to get Kessels, but personally, I love these Kessels. They're great lights. About once a month or so, I will clean them. It's getting almost time to clean these again. As you can see, getting a little grimy on them. So I'll take them off and give them a nice cleaning. So that's my lights, guys. Then, as you can see here, I have just a standard 54-gallon classic aquarium corner tank. So I have a 3/4 inch return to overflow, and then a 1 inch drain down there. So that's really the overview there. I'll go on stuff inside the tank in a little bit. Now I'm going to go to my stand. So as you can see, it's just a standard corner stand. Before I go inside, I have mounted to the front here is my ATO, or auto top off. If you guys don't know, in salt water, just like any aquarium, your water evaporates, but salt does not evaporate, so your salinity will increase. So it's very important to top off with fresh RO only, no salt mixed into it, water, so it keeps your salinity stable. And then over here I have my wave makers. I have 2 J-Bose RWs. I have one RW4 and one RW8. And there's my RW4, my RW8 back there. And they run in combined mode, where once in a while they'll switch off and pulse different waves into the tank. So it gives a nice flow for my corals and fish. I'm actually wondering if maybe my flow is too light. As you can see here, I only got them about a third of the way up, but seems to be doing well, so I'm going to leave them there. So going inside my sump, so first thing you can probably see, it's very tight. That one thing I don't like about the corner sand, but I'm making it work. One thing I did install was this wireless light. So this is a battery operated switch that powers a LED light, so it gives me light down here. I just had the receiver plugged in back here with the light plugged into it. So going over the equipment here, here's my 1 inch hose that goes into my filter sock into the sump. Now, some things I will suggest. I suggest not using the hoses. I'm not a big fan of them. I would go PVC if I knew better at the time. I'm actually working on a new design to get a new pump in there. That's why I have this thing here. Another thing is, at least with this sump, my hose connected here, and that was it. And it was just water dropping right into the sock, and it was loud. It was annoying. So what I did was I took a PVC pipe and extended it down below the water, but still fit in the sock. So now the water drains in the sock down here, and I don't hear it as much. It's nice and quiet. Then I have my Reef Octopus 110 Slim Skimmer. This thing is a beast. You can see the skim mate in there. I'm still playing around with what kind of skim mate I like to get, but this seems to be doing pretty well. So then I have my heater way down there. Again, it's a tight sump, so my heater has to fit diagonal. I also have this contraction I made for my reactor, which when I get my new pump in, I'm going to put a manifold on and have my new pump drive both my reactors and my return line off of one pump, and then that'll save some things there. But it's just a pump in there that goes to the reactors. I'll go over the reactors shortly. Then I have my return Rio return pump. Again, I have a new pump to put in here when I get to it, but right now that's what I have. Again, I would go with PVC over this piping, the hoses, because I just don't like the look of it. So back here, you see my sensor for my ATL. So once that gets a little low, my ATL will kick on. I also have a temperature probe which is connected to my controller, and then just a single power strip there, which soon might be coming out. depending on how things go. But that's underneath my sand. So again, because I have a tight sand, I had to install my GFO and carbon reactor outside my sand. So I have the hose. The hose goes back in and goes right into my filter sock. So even the water coming out of my reactor, even though it's pulling out of my sump, it's being filtered through the sock before going back into my sump. And same with my ATO. It gets filtered through the sock before going in. Alright, so again, here's my GFO reactor. The GFO, you want a small tumbling. I'm sure you guys can't see that. That's kind of cloudy in there. These containers got pretty dirty. And then my carbon does not tumble at all. You don't want your carbon tumbling. I use a 5-gallon bucket for my top off reservoir, and I do have a sensor in there as well. So once this is empty, my ATO will not turn on, and my pump won't be sucking up air. So let's go into my controller here real quick. So sorry guys, that was my daughter needs something. So again, let me go back over my DIY controller. So being an IT computer nerd, I had a friend suggest building a controller out of a Raspberry Pi. So that's what I have there. I'm not going to go into the full details. Am I saying you need a controller or an aquarium? No, you do not. They do make things easier, but you do not need one. But so I have 4 outlets I can control. I have my GFO, my skimmer, and the 2 blue lights are on the controller. 4-channel relay, touch screen, so I can go in and feed my fish and all that stuff. We'll turn the equipment off, and that's about it really. I'll probably do another video another time about my controller more in detail. And yes, I have a lid that goes over the controller because I have cats who like to climb on here, and I don't want them chewing on any wires or anything. So that's the overview of the equipment I use. So let me give you an overview of what's inside the tank. So I started with I ordered 90 pounds of live rock. I did not put all 90 pounds into this tank. The rule of thumb is 1 to 2, or actually 2 to 3 pounds per gallon of water, of rock. And that becomes your main filtration for your beneficial bacteria. So I went with 90. I ordered 90. Did I use all 90? No. I probably have 80 or so in there. So it's doing pretty good. I like the rock work, the escape. So it's really, I didn't try hard to come up with this elaborate escape. I kind of just started piling rocks, and this is what I got. So do I like it? Yes, but I didn't spend much time on it. Then I have a whole bunch of fish in here. I probably am overstocked on my tank. It's only a 54. I do have some large fish in here. I do have a good number of fish in here. Do I recommend that to anyone? No. I am stubborn. I do things my way sometimes, and like I said, I don't recommend it, especially tangs. Tangs really should not be in a tank this size. Now, both of my tanks are over a year old and are doing pretty well in this tank. But again, I would not suggest to anyone to put tangs in here. If you are stubborn like me, you can do it, but I'm not telling you to go out and put tangs in a 54-gallon tank. One key thing is any kind of tank you get, if you're going to get tangs, make sure they have ample swimming space. So as you can see here, I have a big channel that can swim through on both sides of the tank. Tanks really like to swim, and the flow of the tank, they can kind of sit there and use the flow for their speed as well, and then give them also ample hiding spots. So that's key to tangs. And also, of course, feed them a lot. They're grazers. I do, as you can see here, I have an algae clip or seaweed clip for them. I feed them twice a day with that, plus my regular feeding. I also have 2 blue yellowtail damsels. Again, some people do not like them. They are good starter fish. They're very hardy. They'll take a beating, as one would say, as your tank is cycling, but they can be territorial. They can be bullies. Knock on wood, mine have been model citizens with everyone else in my tank. I haven't had a problem with them, so I have not had to go in and try to pull them out. I also have a Bengal cardinal and a PJ cardinal back there. They are very nice fish. And I actually just learned something new the other day about Bengals. They only have about a 2-year to 3-year lifespan. So he's about a year old now. So it's gonna be interesting to see how long I can keep him. But yeah, they tend to have a very short lifespan. And actually their lifespan in the wild, by what I'm reading, is only about a year or so. So it's not even like the home aquarium is shortening their lifespan. It's actually seemed to extend their lifespan a little bit. So I also, you can see here, I have a flame angel. Now flame angels are hit or miss with corals. I had my flame angel before I started with any corals. I was going to do a fish only tank because I didn't think I was ready for corals. But then I jumped into corals and have not looked back. Now, my flame angel has not nipped at any of my corals, but be mindful that they are known to nip corals. I also have a royal gourami in there, and that was, if you guys watched my last video, that was a mistake on my part. I did not do research on them. I bought him for my girl's 10-gallon tank, and he bullied the firefish. So I pulled him out and put him in here where he is not a bully. He just hangs out, and then the other fish keep him in line. So I also have engineering gobies, a bunch of other things. I have about 13 total fish in this tank, and like I said, that's probably overstocked. Do not suggest that to anyone, but that's how I ran my tank. I do have a bunch of corals. My wife thinks I have too many. I think I don't have enough. I have a pink bird's nest. I have a pink acro. I have a red digit back there. I have a purple or blue voodoo. I have 3 Monty caps. I have a green Monty cap and 2 red. One's a little more pink than red. Let's see here. I have a hammer. No, not a hammer. Sorry. Yes, a hammer. I have a hammer, not a torch. I saw it was a torch. Sorry, guys. That's a hammer. Normally, when the lights are on and stuff, that's much fuller. It's 3 heads on it. Hopefully, I start getting some more heads on there. That'd be nice. I have a rainbow bubble tip anemone. I have a green tip anemone with a tomato clown. My tomato clown likes to live in both of my anemones. And then down here I have my green star polyps islands. And they're really nice. The green star polyps are really nice looking, but they can overtake a tank. So it is suggested that if you're going to put them in your tank, try to keep them separate from your other rockwork, because they will just spread like crazy and can choke out your other corals. So, and then over here I have zoanthid and polyps. The polyps and zoanthids are doing really good. I have a handful of snails in here. I have a fire shrimp in here. I have a sand siphon star that helps keep the sand clean. I have a brittle sea star They eat a lot of the waste food as well. So I do have a lot going on in this tank, and I enjoy it. I come in here and watch it all the time. So let me go up here. As I said in my last video, I'm starting to play around with some mangroves. Now, I'm still learning about mangroves. I don't think mangroves are the reason for it, but if they are, that's even beneficial. I was having a slight algae outbreak. I was having a lot of algae on this rock here, around some of my corals and stuff. Now, mangroves are a filtration, a nature filtration. They will eat up the phosphates in your tank and help themselves grow. And the phosphates, pulling that out of your tank, will prevent algae from growing. Now, 5 mangroves, I don't think was doing enough. That'll wipe out all my algae. I do have the GFO, well, which helps with that. So maybe in combination of them two, was really starting to pull this algae out of my tank, which is nice. And I can't wait till they start growing and leafing out. Now, some things to be mindful is, if you look at mangroves, is you got to keep the leaves above water, and of course the roots below water. And then once you start getting leaves and stuff, it's recommended to spray them with water or RO water to keep the salt. They will collect salt on them, and if you get too much salt on them, it'll kill the leaves. They'll fall back in your tank and can crash your tank with the dead, decaying leaves. So it's really nice to try to keep them nice and clean. So I will be picking up a spray bottle once these things start leafing. So, all right, guys, that's an overview of my tank. I hope I cover everything for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Like I stated, I am no expert. I'm just a hobbyist. I'm learning every day as I go. I've changed things out. Like, as I said, my lighting I've changed out, things like that. So definitely do any research before you start a tank. I do recommend, if you're interested in starting a saltwater tank, definitely do a saltwater tank, but do research, lots and lots of research. And whatever advice you get, if it's from me, from your live fish store, from another stranger on the internet, make sure you back their advice up with your own research and your own knowledge of fish keeping. Because like I said, I'm no expert. I don't mind if I give you advice and you research and you back up my advice, or even if I give you advice and I'm incorrect and you come back and say, hey, the information you gave me was incorrect, this is the proper way of doing it. Hey, like I said, I'm learning every day myself. I can only say what worked for my tank and my system, and try to help anyone as they start out. So guys, hopefully you like this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.